This segment is brought to you by Asian Cultural Alliance.
Most people see a vast emptiness in oceans. They seem to divide us, but in fact, they connect us. Since ancient times, oceans carry people, cultures, religions, and goods to the ends of the earth and created new worlds. I'm Sam Willis, a maritime historian. I'm travelling an old sea route in the wake of a great Chinese fleet.
I love the collision between old and new, it's fantastic.
On giant wooden ships, they sailed bound for the western seas, a journey of over 50,000 kilometres. The fleet followed the trade route that has come to be known as the Maritime Silk Road.
It's an amazing discovery.
And laid the groundwork for how we live today. A world shaped and bound together by trade, where people of vastly different cultures, languages, and faiths find common ground in mutual self-interest. In the last leg of my journey, I'm travelling to Africa to discover traces left by the Chinese fleet.
It's such an important piece of history.
Then through the Suez Canal, north to Europe.
Eastern Europe, Western Europe. And this is where it ends up.
To see how maritime trade still drives our modern world. The world's oceans have set the stage for great voyages of discovery and the making of great fortunes. And in their wake, they have always brought other things, including religion. Take Christianity. It began in the Middle East, and wherever it spread, converts made its rituals their own.
The kingdom of heaven is greater than he.
And centuries later, it has become the faith of millions.
Almost 50% of Africans today identify themselves as Christians, and many of them are devout. In some sub-Saharan countries, as many as 4/5 of the population attend church regularly.
You'd be forgiven for thinking we're in Africa. But in fact, this is Guangzhou, China.
In the last couple of decades, thousands of Africans have come to China in search of opportunities, and at least 100,000 have come here to Guangzhou. And something that the Chinese call special economic zone status has allowed foreigners to live and work here.
These zones were established to boost trade with attractive incentives for foreigners. And with that came new ideas, cultures, and religions. It was an experiment in globalization, and it transformed the city. This international exchange is visible here in downtown Guangzhou, China's little Africa. I'm here to explore how the city's open trade policy continues to bring people here from halfway across the world, and what makes them stay.
J'aime la Chine.
Nativa Boyoka is from the Congo, but has lived in China for the last 6 years. She makes a living selling cosmetics.
Quand je finis l'université, j'ai demandé à mon papa si il peut m'aider à quitter le pays Parce que je voulais voir aussi comment ça se passe à l'extérieur de mon pays. Dès que j'ai introduit mon passeport à l'ambassade de Chine, j'ai eu le visa facilement. Et je suis arrivée ici.
Nativa knew no one here except her sister. But these days, she's made friends and settled down to life in this once strange land.
今天打扮特别漂亮，我都认出来了。
Si, si.
真的，我都认出来了。
Does he work with you?
Yeah, il travaille dans mon shop, il m'aide à faire le vitre pour classer mes produits.
Oh, okay.
Mais,
你好。
你好。
When you go back to Africa, do you miss China?
oui, la Chine me manque parce que quand je rentre maintenant à mon pays, je me retrouve comme une étrangère. Maintenant, je suis comme une Chinoise. Je me sens laisse. Oui, c'est ça.
Nativa's experience has shown me how Guangzhou's openness attracts newcomers, builds relationships with locals, and in turn transforms the city. But the story of how trade draws vibrant populations is nothing new. Guangzhou first began to thrive as a diverse city 1,300 years ago, as China's only port open to foreign traders. And if trade influences migration, well, migration also influences culture. Guangzhou's celebration of its new African residents can be found here. The Fiesta Djembe Club was founded by Jet Lan, a doctor.
That was really good fun. What made you learn the African drum?
The first time I saw this drum, I think the sound is amazing.
Yeah.
And it looks very beautiful. And after I study about the African music, it's very incredible. It's all from their hearts. Music and rhythm is a very good way to enjoy. Djembe has become a very popular instrument.
Now for my own induction into the joys of this drum.
3 basic sounds of djembe. One is bass. You hit the center of the drum. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, close your hand and hit this place. That's the second sound of djembe.
Okay.
And when you relax your hand, you will get a very high pitch. Let's play together.
It might seem like a bizarre trend that the djembe, a hand drum that originated in 14th century Africa, is now being celebrated in China. But coastal cities have traditionally been early adopters of new ideas from abroad. And this is certainly nothing new for Guangzhou. Links between China and Africa are documented from the city's earliest years as a cosmopolitan port. But 600 years ago, their relationship blossomed to an unprecedented level when the Ming court was presented with emissaries from Africa.
Around the year 1415, ambassadors from an East African city-state called Malin reached the court of the Emperor Yongle.
Yongle was an outward-looking emperor who ordered Admiral Zheng He to set sail on trading missions, bound for Asia and the Middle East aboard a fleet of giant treasure ships. And on December 28, 1416, he gave Zheng He new orders to take the envoys back to their homeland. Half a year later, the fleet set off on their longest voyage to date, facing deadly monsoons with mighty gales that threatened their passage west, to the fabled shores of Africa. The great treasure fleet of the Ming Emperor Yongle, composed of the largest ships of its age, set sail from China in 1417. They journeyed over 10,000 kilometers to reach these shores, Africa's eastern coastline, an area that was part of an extensive maritime trade network that spanned the Indian Ocean.
Now this coastline belongs to Kenya and Somalia, but 600 years ago, trading ports lined this coast, ruled by Arab sheikhs and populated with a microcosm of Asia. Indians, Persians, even Indonesians migrated here to trade.
Not many details are known of what happened when the treasure fleet arrived. In fact, there's no physical evidence to confirm Zheng He and his men actually reached here at all. But I'm looking for what brought merchants here, and the market in the town of Malindi is a good place to start.
If you'd have walked these streets 600 years ago, there'd have been awash with luxury goods from the African interior. Gold from the mines of the country we now know as Zimbabwe, ivory, rhino, horn, tortoiseshell, ambergris, and of course slaves. And they'd have been just one part of a very diverse stream of humanity.
These bazaars were the meeting point of continents. It would have been quite a sight. And this mashup gave rise to something amazing. An entirely new language and culture. Over 9 centuries, indigenous African, Arab, and Indian traditions merged to form Swahili, a name which actually comes from the Arabic word for coast. Malindi's international heritage reflects how it was an important trading hub, so important that they sent out ambassadors on diplomatic missions. But what happened when the Chinese treasure ships arrived is not well understood.
In the official Ming Dynasty records, it simply says that this place is an extremely long way from China, and they don't offer any other information about the subject.
If the treasure fleet did come here, they must have left traces. And I'm starting my search at the local graveyard, where some evidence was recently unearthed.
Just nearby, archaeologists found a 600-year-old coin like this one. One of the most profound effects of the Chinese voyages to the West is that Chinese coins began to be used as a medium of exchange, particularly in Asia. It has the markings on it of Yongle Tongbao, after the Emperor Yongle, who sent Zheng He west with his treasure ships.
I'm convinced maritime trade brought this coin here. But was it from the treasure fleet, or did it arrive later in the hands of merchants? There are other clues that point to Chinese goods being shipped here.
I'm trying to find a curious monument. These are great, but it's not these. Ah, here it is. Right, this is called a pillar tomb. It was named for its shape. It was believed to work as a sort of transmitter. Holy men were buried here, and this was like a conduit for their spiritual power long after their life had ended. And often they're decorated with beautiful ceramics like the jewels in a crown.
This porcelain dates back to the 16th century, a century after the time of Zheng He. But its use on a holy tomb shows how medieval China became a small part of the local culture, along with Arabia and India. None of this really proves that the treasure fleet visited here, but what I haven't found on land, I just might find underwater. Off these shores lie at least 30 sunken ships that are centuries old. If one of them is a Chinese treasure ship, it would prove once and for all that the Ming Emperor's trade mission made it here. Caesar Beta is Kenya's one and only underwater archaeologist. He's taking me to what he believes could be one of Kenya's oldest wrecks.
This was discovered by a local fisherman. So whenever they go every day to fish, to collect, lobsters and all that, they found the shipwreck and they came to tell us about it. So you can imagine the excitement of, yes, this is it.
It's a very narrow channel between two sandbars here. Hope we don't run aground.
Some people might imagine that shipwrecks happen on the open sea, but most actually occur within sight of shore.
Zevado! Huh? You're almost there.
Okay.
Yeah, you're almost there.
But finding a wreck is a bit like finding the proverbial needle in a haystack.
So stage one is trying to find the wreck. Again, there should be a buoy marking it, but we can't find the buoy. Find the buoy, find the wreck.
Yeah, these are sight.
Where's the buoy gone? Is it?
You see, it's a guy was cutting. You kill it, put it here, and local fishers.
Take it away. We found it. Some local fishermen have removed the buoy.
Chop.
We found it. We're right above the wreck site now. You can see these two huge heads of coral which the ship must have hit to make it sink. Oh, I can't wait to get in. Right, this is it.
I'm searching for the remains of a 600-year-old Chinese treasure ship off the coast of Kenya, hoping to find evidence of an imperial maritime expedition. First, I find some porcelain. And then we find what seems to be part of the ship's structure.
That piece of wood that we were excavating, which part of the hull did that come from?
That's one of the ribs.
Okay.
It's a rib.
Holding it up like a wine glass.
Yeah, they are very thick. That tells you that the tradition of the shipwreck is very ancient, because as we move to the modern times, the timber tended to get smaller.
Caesar can't yet say for sure where this ship came from.
Do you think there's a Chinese ship out there somewhere?
Definitely, I believe there are Chinese shipwrecks around. The Chinese are among the first people to land before the Europeans came to this coast. And the Chinese ships were huge, So this would be like, wow, it's a discovery.
It would be a major discovery for the world.
Caesar is confident it's only a matter of time before a Chinese ship is found. But archaeology isn't the only kind of evidence out there.
Buying, keeping, or selling your home is one of the biggest decisions you and your family need to make in your lifetime. Specify a home inspector trusted by the Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors. F10 Inspection Services has been serving the Las Vegas real estate industry for many decades, which secures all inspections with a $10,000 honor guarantee. F10 Inspection Services, proudly Asian American. Call 702-374-7377 now.
堵车。
可不是嘛，你小的时候啊，我们6点钟啊就已经到家了。
为什么现在会堵车呢？
因为越来越多的人呢搬到了附近，所以交通啊自然就变得拥挤了。
是没人去解决这个问题呢？
这可不是一朝一夕的事。首先我们要知道有多少人搬到了这个社区，然后呢还要进行人口数据的分析。
哦，就是2020年人口普查嘛，每10年一次重新统计住在美国的每个人。这些数据有助规划公共资金，决定分给学校、诊所、收入等的比例，对社区影响很大呢。我在学校学的。
但是爸爸现在没时间
啊，很重要。不如我们一起上 2020census.gov 多了解内容，反正还是有时间，堵车也是要等。
那好吧。
详情请上2020census.gov。
I'm travelling from Malindi, 160 kilometres up the coast, to meet a family that might be able to offer a lead about the Chinese fleet on the island of Pate. And it all comes down to a local legend.
Hundreds of years ago, some Chinese sailors were stranded here after a shipwreck. Now, the local inhabitants, as you might expect, are descended from African, Indian, and Arab ancestors, but some of them also have Chinese heritage. Jambo. So I've heard a story that you've got Chinese blood in your veins.
Baraka Badishe's family law tells how she's descended from a Chinese castaway.
Wakamba hawa machini na alipodawa ye mamangu jina lake akaisha Safina, manake ndio hiyo mashua iliyookoa jahazi iliyookoa.
May I have a look?
The story comes with proof of sorts. An heirloom she believes is an old Chinese teacup.
Sasa hiki kitu kilikuwa kina mamangu, alikipacha kwa nje kwa mababu zake. Sasa alipokuwa na mimi kwa mkubwa kana basi kitu chako tezea kama kitu tuna nacho.
That's magical.
Baraka tells me how, in 2005, Chinese researchers tested her DNA and told her she was part Chinese, which of course also affects her own children.
How does that make you feel? Are you quite proud to be part Chinese, to be a bit different?
Why not? I'm proud. We are monks from Chinese blood.
Yeah.
So we are happy.
Are you now famous in the village?
Yeah. Famous. Other people, Chinese. Even my sons, they ask, why, Chinese, come.
That's brilliant.
It's clear that some of the islanders feel a connection to the legend of Chinese mariners from long ago. And the island holds another tantalizing clue, dating back to the time of the Great Treasure Fleet, some 600 years ago.
The ruins that dot Pate Island are the remains of a medieval civilization. The settlement itself was called Shanga, and some believe that that's a corruption of the word China itself. Others, that it's simply just a shortened version of the name for that ancient Chinese port, Shanghai.
I'm meeting a local resident and amateur historian, Mansour Ilayatman, who's taking me to a special spot. with an intriguing tale.
Our island it's having very interesting history. One of the very oldest man, he told me, my son, long time ago here, there was a Chinese ships, and one of the ship was capsized. This area, if we try to walk, we will see some little pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for some pieces of Chinese pottery.
And this is
No
the one.
way.
Yeah.
I didn't believe him. I didn't believe him, but it's true. Oh my God, that's amazing. Look, there's more.
Yeah, we still have more.
You got a piece?
Yes.
He said that it was all kind of broken up and littered around in this mangrove, and I was a bit suspicious, but I've been here less than a minute.
And there are still pieces inside the water.
Here we go. Why is all this here, do you think? Is this a channel that leads to the sea?
Yeah, this is a channel. There was no mangrove before here, but they started to grow now, yeah.
So this used to be the shoreline?
Yeah, the shoreline, yeah.
Right. What do your friends think about you collecting this old horse?
I thought I'm crazy to collect these things, but I'm telling them I'm very interested.
You're not crazy, my friend.
Yeah.
It's true, it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
This is genuinely the most amazing thing I've ever done as a historian or archaeologist. And with all of these pieces of Chinese pottery, I just feel so close to that Chinese treasure fleet.
What I've seen is compelling evidence that the Chinese treasure fleet reached these lands. But what's certain is that African goods reached China.
The Great Fleet made 3 voyages to Africa, and each time they brought back with them ostriches, zebras, lions. But most of all, the animal that caused the greatest astonishment was what the Chinese called qilin, but we call giraffe. The qilin has 2 forefeet, which are more than 9 che high. The head is carried on a long neck, which is 1 chang 6 che long. Well, if the Africans really wanted to impress the Chinese, they simply couldn't have chosen a better animal.
The giraffe resembled a mythical creature of Chinese lore, taken as heaven's approval for Zheng He's mission. But earthly politics would decide the great treasure fleet's future. In 1424, the Emperor Yongle, the great patron of the expeditions, died. The 100-strong imperial treasure fleet was decommissioned after its 7th voyage. While merchant ships still sailed these routes, the glorious age of state-sanctioned Chinese exploration was over. Less than a century later, the first Europeans would begin sailing east.
This is the Vasco da Gama Pillar, named after the famous Portuguese explorer who was the first European to sail around the Cape of Good Hope at the bottom of Africa and to go on to reach India.
The Portuguese were to claim a foothold in the Indian Ocean for 500 years, and they brought their religion with them.
The Portuguese had established a trading post here to act as a resting station for Portuguese ships on their way to India. Notice the cross at the top. It's a symbol of the new motivation for these European explorers in these seas that had never seen them before.
I've travelled from China, through Southeast Asia, to India, the Middle East, and Africa, tracing the passages of the old maritime Silk Road. Next, I'm exploring how today's giant trade ships ferry goods between East and West, and how a game-changing engineering feat spurred a rebirth of maritime trade. I'm exploring the history of exchanges between East and West. And perhaps nowhere is more pivotal to commerce in the modern world than this corner of Egypt. The site of one of the greatest human achievements, to conquer nature for the sake of trade. The Isthmus of Suez.
It's a very narrow stretch of land, just 160 kilometres wide, which divides the Mediterranean on one side with the Red Sea on the other. It's been used for centuries by traders as a stepping stone for their goods. They would arrive, transport them on camels across the isthmus, then load them up on the other side. But now, of course, we have the Suez Canal.
Every year, 17,000 ships, a tenth of the world's sea trade, passes through here, carrying over 300 million tons of goods. A 200-kilometre shortcut through the desert, the canal shaves nearly 9,000 kilometres and 14 days off the journey between east and west. It took a decade to build and was opened in 1869, when it measured barely 8 metres deep and in parts just 22 metres wide. Over the years, as the world's ships got bigger, the canal was upgraded until its most ambitious expansion yet. In 2015, a second 35-kilometre-long channel was opened to bring the canal into the 21st century. Tarek Hassanin was part of the team responsible for the monumental upgrade.
In the last 4 years, we began to notice a large increase in vessels, especially container ships.
In numbers or in size?
In size.
Massive new ships needed a massive new channel.
We used 45 dredgers from different companies along the world. These dredgers represent about 75% of the world dredging capacity.
That's amazing, they were all here. How long did it take?
Just 1 year.
1 year?
Over 250 million cubic metres of sand was removed to dig the new channel. It can now fit the biggest ships in the world and increased capacity from 78 vessels a day to 96.
You know, I've never been anywhere quite like this. It's hot, it's windy, it's dusty, and yet here you are. We have these enormous ships sailing by. It's like we're in the centre of our clockwork world, bearing witness to how modern society ticks along.
A 150 years since its construction, the new Suez Canal is a crucial focal point of world shipping, linking Asia to Europe as never before. But to understand just how important the upgrade was, I'm travelling northwards to the Corinth Canal in Greece.
It was built about a quarter of a century after the Suez Canal, but it retains the original dimensions, just 25 metres across, which for modern cargo ships is quite a squeeze. There's one coming now.
The 130-year-old canal is impassable for today's larger vessels, but it once linked Western Europe with Greece's largest port, now being upgraded to reclaim its position as the gateway to Europe.
This is the port of Piraeus, the gateway to Athens in Greece. And it was said that in ancient times you could get anything you wanted at the port of Piraeus. And looking at all of these containers here now, I think the same can be said of today.
2,500 years ago, this port was a centre of Mediterranean commerce. Since its economic downturn, it has been a growing lifeline for the Greek nation. I'm going to find out about a new push to expand and upgrade its facilities, including a recent €500 million Chinese investment. Piraeus, the port of Athens, Greece. Throughout history, its fortunes have ebbed and flowed, and the vestiges of an earlier heyday can still be seen.
At the turn of the 19th century, Greek merchants began to export Russian grain across the Black Sea to feed the industrialization of Western Europe. It led to the creation of immensely powerful shipping families with world-famous names such as Aristotle Onassis.
And over the last decade, Piraeus has flourished again, growing to become one of Europe's 10 biggest ports. I want to find out how this was achieved. Tassos Vamvakidis is commercial manager here.
Well, we are famous that the vessels are not on anchor. The vessel comes, immediately berth, and then loading and discharging. They have several hatches, so one crane can load, one crane can discharge.
Where do the goods go?
Well, they have three options. Sea to sea, so discharge here, another vessel comes and take it. Sea to land, trucks deliver the cargo in Greece or going to Central Europe.
The efficiency with which large quantities of goods can be loaded and unloaded, bound for Europe, gives it a tremendous advantage. But it wasn't always like this.
What was this whole port area like, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago?
Well, you presume I'm old enough. well, there was no commercial activity here. 2 years ago, there was sea here.
2 years ago, not 30? Wow. What do you think the local Greeks think about having a massive new port in their city?
In the very beginning, because this is a Chinese investment, they thought, and they will bring thousands of Chinese working here. Through the years, it had been proved that it's only 5-6 members of the board of directors. All the rest, 1,400 people, we are Greeks.
Piraeus Port embodies the deep link that Greeks have to seafaring. But what few people know is that shipping played a surprising role in the nation's ancient temples. Stone columns are icons of the country's long history. But it's thought that the skills of Greek masonry were first honed by shipwrights.
Southwest of Athens lies the Peloponnese Peninsula, seat of the ancient Corinthians. Now, they soon realised that they could use their tools of shipbuilding to work the porous limestone of their native land. This, of course, was an important step in the Greeks being able to build beautiful stone monuments like the Temple of Apollo behind me. And they, of course, influenced architecture and ideas across Europe to America and beyond.
It's a fascinating example of an unexpected link between seafaring and the spread of new ideas. Once released on the world's oceans, there's no telling where those ideas will wash up and evolve into something else. But there's another commodity in this rugged countryside that has travelled across the globe. People here have been making olive oil for more than 2,000 years. Over half of Greece's supply comes from this region. I'm heading to an olive grove on the Peloponnese Peninsula's western tip, near the town of Ermioni, to meet a man who's marketing this age-old product to brand new customers.
You hold it with one hand and you can cut it over here, yes.
There we are.
Perfect.
How old is this tree? How long has this place been here?
Let me ask it. How old are you? It says approximately 60 years old.
Do they learn to speak quite young, or does it take a long time?
It takes you a lot of time to learn how to understand them.
After the Greek financial crisis, Kostas Balafas saw an opportunity to bring his multinational marketing experience to his family's olive grove.
In 2011, I was fired and I was starting to consider my alternative option for the future. Why not try to bottle our product and trade it all around the world?
But Kostas has his sights set on one market in particular.
Why did you want to start selling to China?
Definitely because it's a great market. It's a huge market. It's not easy to convince people to change their habits. Chinese people, they're very familiar in using soya oil or sesame oil or peanuts oil. If we can make them think how they can use it along with their cuisine, I think that they will fall in love with the olive oil.
Four or 5 kilograms of olives go into making a single litre of oil. Which is then filtered and stored at room temperature to prevent it turning acidic. Then it's ready for bottling. Over a third of Costas's product is now exported to Asia, an 80% increase over the past 2 years. This box will be sent by container ship along the very same route I've travelled, back to China.
There we are, just enough. Last one.
Yes, this is the last.
Right, bye.
See you.
Have a nice trip to China.
Enjoy. So we put these.
China has a booming middle-income population.
Let's try it. You may have had this before.
Okay.
At over 200 million people, it's the largest in the world.
Yamas!
And if Costas can convince only a few to use his olive oil, that's a massive new market.
You like it?
Yes.
I've travelled along the old shipping routes, linking China, through Southeast Asia and the Middle East, onto Africa and Europe, exploring how maritime trade continues to transform lives.
See you.
Have a nice trip.
And now I'm going from Greece back to China, to get to the very heart of why all this maritime trade actually happens. After a journey of 8,000 kilometers, Costas's olive oil arrives in the city of Nanjing.
And this is where it ends up, where most of us experience the benefits of global trade and neighbourhood markets. Here, we've got pasta from Italy, we've got seaweed from Korea, there's some hot sauce from Thailand, and they've even got our very own olive oil. At the time of the Great Fleet, Chinese merchants were also offering their customers goods from Asia, from Africa, and from Europe. But I think that our Admiral Zheng He would have been somewhat taken aback by the sheer variety of goods that are on offer.
The liquid gold from the family olive grove might just change Chinese eating habits.
因为橄榄油很健康，我这个人比较注重健康，所以我就一直用橄榄油。年轻人上网都会，这些橄榄油的广告都很多啊，然后我们就自己去尝试啊，两个油对比啊，然后觉得橄榄油更好一些。
Everything I've found on my journey can perhaps be boiled down to the story of this bottle of Greek olive oil. How the world's oceans set the stage for an age-old exchange. Carried on the backs of ships, linking distant lands, and binding together a multitude of lives. All for the fulfillment of our human desire for goods, whether exotic or mundane. My journey in the wake of Admiral Zheng He and his great fleet has brought me back to Nanjing, where it all began. Sailing to over 30 countries, the distance they travelled was enough to circumnavigate the globe. After 28 years, his journey ended here.
The 28 stone steps leading here are said to represent the 28 years of Zheng He's naval career from 1405 to 1433. And they're further divided into 4 sections of 7 to symbolise the 7 great voyages that he led.
And at the top is his tomb, a lofty resting place for a trusted servant of the Ming court. apart from one thing. Zheng He wasn't actually buried here. He never returned from his 7th voyage.
In 1433, aged 62 years old, he was in failing health as he sailed home southeast from India. And somewhere in the vastness of the Indian Ocean, he died aboard ship.
On his memorial are the most extraordinary verses that commemorate his life. We have traversed more than 100,000 li, beheld in the ocean huge waves like mountains rising sky high, and we have set eyes on barbarian regions far away, traversing those savage waves as if we were treading a public highway. In the following centuries, European colonialists spread out to conquer vast lands, including parts of China. But the story of the treasure ship missions has given me a glimpse into an alternative narrative. Not of conquest, but building a shared community and a future through commerce. Along the pathways of the maritime Silk Road, whose legacy continues today.
This segment was brought to you by Asian Cultural Alliance.
Your life is a journey. You want to make it count. You want to leave a legacy and leave no regrets. This isn't a dress rehearsal. There are no second chances. So what really matters? Creating memories, connecting with people you love, vibrant health, creating something that lasts, that can be passed from generation to generation. Success? No. Deeper. Significance. But how? There are a lot of options, lots of noise, and not a lot of guidance. Introducing Experient, the guide on the journey of your life. Experient is a private, invitation-only club designed to help you squeeze every drop of greatness out of life. To start, let's make sure you live this life with no regrets. Show your kids the world. Take your sweetheart to Santorini. Give your mom the trip she's always wanted. Experient members save up to 80% off the best online price on more than 1 million hotels and resorts around the world. Here's the Millennium Hotel in New York for 48% off. Ritz-Carlton in Maui for 31% off. Belvedere in Santorini for 68% off. The K Boutique in Rome, 45% off. Hotel Antico Doge in Venice, 61% off. We can literally do this all day. 1 million hotels around the globe, up to 80% off every day of the year, everywhere you want to go. No blackout dates, no restrictions. How will it feel when you can afford to vacation once a month rather than once a year? Make your reality better than your expectations. We also have one of the richest reward programs in the industry, and every dollar you spend earns you free travel in the future. But are the prices really that good? Yes. And to give you peace of mind, we have a 110% price guarantee. Our travel benefits are only the tip of the iceberg. We want your life going to the power of X right where you live. Introducing Experient Cash, the app that earns you an average of 5.4% cash back immediately at hundreds of restaurants and stores. It's a big deal for a credit card to offer 1 or 2% cash back. But what if you could get 5 times that amount without waiting until the end of the quarter or the year to use it? Shop at Macy's and earn instant cash for lunch at Chili's. Get breakfast at Dunkin' Donuts and earn cash to instantly spend on a movie at AMC. Best Buy, Chili's, Nordstrom, Olive Garden, AutoZone, Gap, Bass Pro Shops, Bed Bath & Beyond, Buffalo Wild Wings, Papa John's, Cinemark, CVS, Disney, Home Depot, Cheesecake Factory, Whole Foods, Ulta, Uber, the list goes on and on. Shop more, dine more, make your budget go further. Experient Cash takes your everyday life to the power of X. Speaking of life, we all know that wellness is everything. Experient has done something unprecedented. How would it feel to get all the health and wellness products you're currently buying at up to 50% off retail. Introducing Rialto, the premier wellness marketplace exclusively available to Experian members. Shop more than 6,000 items across the 500 biggest brands in health and nutrition. Brands like Isopure, Garden of Life, Blue Bonnet, BSN, Muscle Farm, Isoflex, Spiritine, Now Foods, Vega Sport, Country Life, Nature's Way, New Chapter, and hundreds more. All at prices you cannot get anywhere else. Why spend more for the same brands? Join Experian and save. One last thing about health. You've probably heard the buzz around CBD oil, but who can you trust? Experian has developed a proprietary CBD product line that is the purest and most potent on the market, backed by independent third-party lab analysis of every batch. As a member, you pay pennies on the dollar for a better product with zero THC. A 1,500 milligram product like ours will cost more than $150 per bottle, but elite members can purchase it for just $50. We also have a world-class balm, lotion, and pet product. If you want the amazing benefits of CBD with no worry and less money, welcome to the club. As I mentioned, we are barely scratching the surface on all the ways you'll benefit as a club member. Our elite members get world-class legal insurance and benefits, a concierge, identity theft protection, major automotive benefits, and much more. Bottom line, we save you money. Joining Experian doesn't just change your life, it could save someone else's. Experian is very passionate about ending the scourge of human trafficking. You are a part of that vision. A portion of every membership goes directly to fight human trafficking. We are proud partners with A21, the leading organization on the front lines of this battle. You and I are literally liberating the oppressed. For just $99 a month with a one-time initiation of $200 that you never spend again, you'll join this exclusive fraternity of people who want to live on purpose and want to leave a legacy while leaving no regrets. Not quite ready to be elite? Our standard membership provides access to all our travel-related benefits and the Rialto Marketplace for only $50 per month with a one-time activation of $100. Experian means more. More memories, more great meals, more laughs, more shopping sprees, more savings, more ways to connect. Experian is an addition, we're multiplication. We are multiplying your resources and taking your life to the power of X. Save money, find community, make an impact. Experian. Leave a legacy, leave no regrets. Speaking of legacy, some of you may want to go beyond making memories and also make some money. 95% of people spend their lives exchanging time for dollars. Whether as an employee or a small business owner, as long as you give away time to get money, you're not truly free. Warren Buffett said, if you can't figure out how to get paid while you sleep, you'll work till you die. Getting paid while you sleep has a name, residual income. But how do you create residual income? Residual is typically reserved for the few who can start a corporation or write a timeless hit song, because residual requires a very elusive asset, leverage. How do you create leverage? Simple. You leverage us. Go into business for yourself, but with our mentorship and resources. We market our club exclusively through independent consultants, and we've developed a lucrative compensation plan that rewards you for enrolling members. Now, you may say, I'm not a salesperson. I don't like to sell. Perfect. What if you could earn residual income by giving away free websites where people will save money on the things they are already buying? Listen to the words: free, save, already buying. We have 3 levels of membership: elite, standard, and free. Elite gives you maximum benefits and discounts, and standard is focused on travel. But our free members can also book travel and purchase products on Rialto for less than they would on Expedia or Amazon. And every time they purchase, the consultant that enrolled them earns money. Let's say your friend goes to the gym and they buy protein powder from Vitamin Shop today. If they sign up for the free website that you give them, they can buy that exact same protein powder for less. Nothing changed, and they didn't spend anything to get the savings. But every month when they buy that protein powder, because you enrolled them, you will get paid. We're not selling anything or changing people's buying habits. They already book travel and shop online today. We just have it for less. Oh, and did we mention you get paid? Unlike some organizations, we don't charge you to give away sites. When you're a Member Plus consultant, you can give away an unlimited number of our free websites, and all spending earns you income. For only $9.99 per month with a one-time activation of $40, you get a complete platform with websites, back office, and more. For less than the cost of a steak dinner, you can participate in the growth of one of the fastest growing companies in America with a system crafted to provide you everything you need to succeed. As an experienced consultant, there are virtually limitless ways to earn, and we don't have time to address them all. Just know that we have a stated goal of having the highest paid consultants in the direct sales industry, and our compensation plan is unmatched. We pay direct commissions, duplication bonuses, up to 9% of your volume per week on your organization's spending, generational bonuses that essentially mean infinite payout on your team, a lifestyle bonus that by itself can be as much as $25,000 per month, and a leadership bonus pool where you can earn a percentage of the entire company's revenue each month. We have fast start bonuses and other mechanisms to put money in your pocket now. If you're ambitious and motivated, we could show you how you can earn as much as $1,805 from just 5 new enrollments. And did I mention your business is a willable, sellable, transferable asset? It is. Earn income helping people save money with no recruiting and no selling. It's a product that changes lives, a cause that changes the world, and a legacy that you can pass to the next generation. Leave a legacy. Leave no regrets. Experience. Let's get started.